Hi everyone, so we're going to go into the Smart School Virtual Music Room and we're going to learn about sound. Lesson 1 on the board, sound, and this is the lesson for the smartest level. So if you find anything a little bit tricky on this, you can always go back or ask your teacher if you can see the smart or smarter video as well. I have top 5 facts at this level. Fact 1, sound travels through everything. Almost. In space there is a vacuum, and this is about the only thing sound does not travel through. You can scream your head off and no one will hear you. So a vacuum is where there's no air. It's like an empty bit of space. So think about it. Let's have a think about this. We're thinking about sound travelling through different things. When you're underwater at the swimming pool, can you still hear sounds? I think you can. If someone taps a pipe in another part of the building, the sound travels through the pipes to other rooms. That is true. Whale sounds and songs cannot travel underwater. Well, if that's true, no one would know that they were making sounds and songs. So I think that's false. I think they can travel underwater. Yes. In the vacuum of space, sound travels very fast. Well, it just said above that it does not travel through the vacuum of space. So I think that is false. Well done. So, fact number 2, idiophones, those are the solid objects that we make sounds with. Idiophones make sounds that are more like noises. Instruments like woodblocks and cymbals make sounds like noises. This is because they make waves that do not make a pattern. So which one of these is a wave for woodblocks and other wooden sounds? It's a nice, smooth, evenly shaped pattern that fades away, or this jagged pattern that cuts off quite quickly. I think it's going to be, well, let's try the first one. Sorry, try again. Must be this one then. Yes. Which of these ones is the wave for cymbals and other metal sounds? So we've got a little tam-tam here, a little gong, and a cowbell, and some cymbals. So this one is like a crashy sound, a bit jagged with a fade away, or this short crisp sound. Let's see. I think it might be that one. See how the shape of the sound hangs on for quite a while and then fades away. Fact number 3, twice the speed of vibrations equals an octave higher. So an octave is when you got 8 steps. The note middle A is made when something vibrates at 440 times per second. The next A, 8 steps or an octave higher, is made of a vibration that is twice as fast. One thing I've got to explain is that 8 steps isn't quite 8 steps, it's 7 steps, but you count the starting note as well. So you count the first A and you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then music goes back to A again after G. So if you were going up the white keys of a keyboard or a piano, then you'd go from A to the next A, or from C to the next C. Well, we're looking at A, which is 440 hertz or vibrations a second. If you're not sure what those mean, then you need to go and have a look at the smarter or the smart levels. Double the speed of the vibration and you get the next note higher with the same name. This is called an octave. So that's an A. 880, double it, that's another A, but the next higher one. So this means the number of vibrations a second. So if it's a string, you can see it vibrating. If it's a string, you're going to then make it an octave higher by tightening it or playing on a higher fret. Then you would see the vibration of the string would be going backwards and forwards, vibrating twice as fast. Fact number 4. This is a bit of science. Sound is a form of energy. Like heat is a form of energy. Light is a form of energy. There is a huge amount of energy in thunder. Thunder's very loud, very noisy, fills the whole sky and the whole of the air around us. The energy in a thunderstorm could run a city of 100,000 people for a whole month if you converted the energy into light or heat. But the form of energy in thunder is sound energy. Have you ever felt the vibrations from a big lorry passing by? The sound is strong enough to shake the ground. So that's the energy going from the engine on the lorry into the ground and then shake. You can feel it in the house. Sound or sonic vibrations are used to clean complicated mechanical objects in a tub of liquid. So if you put the sound through the liquid and put the complicated mechanical object into it, it can clean all the dirt off it. The vibrations from the sound can do that. And you can use that sound, the sonic vibrations, to clean your teeth with. So the vibrations kill the bacteria on your teeth and gums, and the dirt just falls away. So sound is a form of energy. Fact number 5. How an instrument is played changes the timbre. So this is a funny word. It means different types of sound. Why does a violin sound different from a trumpet? Because it's played in a different way. But we call that difference between the sounds, we call that the timbre. Two different people playing the same instrument make different sounds. So even if you had exactly the same instrument, two different people came and played it, it would still sound different. Only slightly, but still different. The way you play it changes the sound as well. So plucking a string has a different timbre to bowing it. If you have a violin and you play it with a bow, you get a very different sound compared to plucking the string. Okay. A violin sounds different from a guitar or a flute. True or false? Yes, it does. When a violin is plucked, it sounds the same as when it is played with a bow. I don't think so. An old handmade Stradivarius violin costing £1 million will make a better sound than a new machine-made one costing £100. I think that's true, because if it didn't, I don't think people would pay £1 million for it. Stradivarius was a man who made violins and cellos in Italy a few hundred years ago, around 400 years ago, and his violins are still played today, and they're quite rare, and they cost a lot of money because they have an amazing sound. True. I've been learning to play the violin for 3 weeks, but I would sound just as good as the best players in the world if they let me play on their violin. I don't think I would. So, that's all the learning. Let's see how much you can remember with the quiz. You can write this down. You could use a notebook or piece of paper just to write down the questions. There are 10 questions, and the answers are going to be A, B, multiple choice answers. I'm going to show all the questions, and we can scroll down them and have a look at what we've got to answer. I'll give you some time to do each one, and then I'll go back and show you the right answers, hopefully. Right, sound does not travel through. So what is the one thing that sound does not travel through? Question 1 is A, air, B, water, C, water, D, a vacuum. And vacuum is what you get in space, if you remember, where there's no air. And a vacuum cleaner is called that because it sucks all the air out of things. Question 2, which instrument has a sound that is more like a noise? Wood blocks, piano, violin, guitar. A, B, C or D. Question number 3, the sound of a cymbal A is shorter than the sound of a wood block. B is longer than the sound of a wood block. C is very short. Or D is always the note A. That's a cymbal. Which one do you think is the right answer? Question 4, a note that is an octave higher is made by putting more energy into playing it, playing it softer, C, halving the speed of the vibrations, or D, doubling the speed of the vibrations. See if you can spot the deliberate spelling mistake there. I think half should have a V in it, not an F. Okay, I think we know what I meant. A note that is an octave higher than A, 440 hertz or vibrations per second, is A, vibrates at 880 times a second. B, at 220 times a second. C at 8,800 times a second, or D vibrates at 88 times a second. Question number 6, the sound of thunder. A doesn't have much energy in it. B is middle C. C has a huge amount of energy in it, or D has no energy in it. Question 7. Sonic vibrations are used, that's vibrations that make sound, are used A, to clean teeth only, B, to clean teeth and other objects. C, to make recordings. Or D, to slow down lorries. Question 8. Violins can be A, played with a bow only, B, plucked only, C, played by blowing, or D, plucked and bowed. Question 9. Which one of these Italians was a great violin maker? A, Pavarotti, B, Ferrari, C, Stradivarius, or D, Vivaldi. And the last question. Old handmade violins usually A, make a better sound than new machine-made ones, B, are the cheapest to buy, C, sound worse than newer ones, or D, sell for low prices. So remember, that's the old handmade violins. That's the quiz. Let's go and see if I can get all the answers right for you. See how many of them you've got right too. So sound does not travel through a vacuum. D, 100%. Well done. Which instrument has a sound that is more like a noise? That's question number 2, and I think it's wood blocks. Hope you got that one. The sound of a cymbal is not shorter than the sound of a wood block. It's a longer one. It hangs on for quite a while. Question 4. A note that is an octave higher is made by doubling the speed of the vibrations. D. A note that is an octave higher than A, at 440 Hertz, is double that. So to get the octave higher from A to the next A, it's double, so it's 880. Question number 6. The sound of thunder has a huge amount of energy in it, enough to power a city if you could capture the energy and convert it into heat or light. And the reason that we don't, for those of you that have looked into renewable forms of energy like wind power and solar power, is because it's not very efficient. You don't get that much thunder very often, so it wouldn't be very reliable. Number 7, sonic vibrations are used to clean teeth and other objects. We're doing well so far, 7 out of 7. Hopefully you're doing pretty well too. Violins can be played with, well, they can be plucked and bowed, can't they? Yes. Question 8. Stradivarius was the great violin maker. And finally, old handmade violins usually make a better sound than new machine-made ones. But you have to pay for them. You have to pay a lot extra for that extra nice sound. Well done. Hopefully you had a good score. If you didn't get some of the questions, you can always replay this video sometime and see which you didn't get and check up the information from earlier in the video. Now I'm just going to go back to the top of the smartest level for sounds and click on the extra button here. Investigate it. This is a little project that you can go away and do, or you can do later. After you've completed the smart and smarter investigations, try researching and putting together a short presentation that explains what these mean. So we've learned quite a bit over the 3 levels of aerophones, idiophones, membranophones and chordophones. That's all to do with what vibrates to make the sound. Air, solid objects, a thin stretched skin, or a string. And then how you play it. Explore how the way an instrument is played changes the sound it makes. Think about different ways of hitting a drum, different types of beaters on xylophones. You can get hard beaters or soft beaters, fluffy beaters, plucking or bowing a violin, and so on. Maybe you'll invent some new way of playing an instrument to make different sounds. Thanks for learning.